The Grand Council chamber of the Varathian Empire was a monument to intimidation. Crystalline pillars stretched toward a vaulted ceiling that displayed the conquered star systems of 1,000 worlds. Representatives from species across 3 galactic arms stood in silent witness as Emperor Galactic the Eternal raised his 7-clawed appendage, preparing to deliver humanity's death sentence. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood alone in the accused circle, a small figure dwarfed by the assembled might of the galaxy's most powerful empire. She wore a simple gray suit, carried no weapons, and showed no bodyguards. To the assembled dignitaries, she looked absurdly vulnerable, exactly as she intended. Human, Emperor Galactic's voice boomed through the chamber, translated instantly into 600 languages. Your species has been judged. You have refused to submit to imperial authority. You have declined to share your technology. You have rejected our generous offer of protectorate status. His multiple eyes gleamed with predatory satisfaction. The Varathian Empire has therefore decided to absorb your pathetic 3-world system by force. We declare total war upon humanity, effective immediately. The chamber erupted in the alien equivalent of approving murmurs. The Varathians had crushed civilizations spanning hundreds of worlds. Humanity, with its 3 barely developed planets and no faster-than-light capability to speak of, would last perhaps a week. 2 at most. Ambassador Chen did something unexpected. She laughed. Not a nervous titter or a defiant bark, but a genuine, delighted laugh that echoed through the vast chamber with incongruous cheerfulness. The murmuring stopped. Emperor Galactic's thermal pits flared with confusion and anger. You dare mock this council, he hissed. Oh no, your Imperial Majesty, Sarah said, still smiling as she reached into her jacket. Several guards tensed, but she simply pulled out a folded newspaper, actual paper, an antiquated format most species had abandoned millennia ago. I'm laughing because of the timing. You see, this morning's edition just came out. She unfolded the newspaper with a theatrical flourish. The masthead read the Solar Times in bold letters, with a date stamp showing it was indeed from that very day. Sarah cleared her throat and began to read. Local man discovers FTL drive while trying to fix toaster. That's the headline. She looked up, her expression pleasant. Would you like me to continue? The Emperor's translator struggled with several concepts simultaneously. What does a food heating device have to do with? Oh, it gets better, Sarah interrupted, running her finger down the page. Here's another one. Teenage garage experiment accidentally opens stable wormhole to Andromeda. That was Tuesday. Wednesday's front page was grandmother's knitting pattern contains formula for 0-point energy. I have the back issues if you'd like to see them. She folded the newspaper and tucked it back into her jacket. Your Majesty, you asked why we refuse to share our technology. The answer is simple. We don't have technology in the way you understand it. We have incidents. A council member from the insectoid Chithrax Dominion chittered nervously. Explain this absurdity. Sarah's smile widened. Humanity doesn't develop technology through methodical research and development. We stumble into it. We trip over it. We accidentally discover fundamental laws of physics while pursuing completely unrelated goals. Do you know how we discovered nuclear fission? She didn't wait for an answer. We were trying to figure out why certain rocks glowed in the dark. Quantum computing? A graduate student spilled coffee on his thesis computer, and it started calculating in 11 dimensions simultaneously. Antimatter containment? A child's science fair project that nobody understood, including the child. The chamber had gone completely silent now. Sarah continued, warming to her subject. Here's what you need to understand about humans, Your Majesty. We are cosmically, catastrophically, magnificently lucky. Or unlucky, depending on your perspective. Our species has survived 17 extinction-level events that should have wiped us out. We've had ice ages, supervolcano eruptions, asteroid impacts, and once this is documented, our entire planet's magnetic field just turned off for a century. We survived because someone coincidentally invented underground farming the month before while trying to grow mushrooms in their basement. Emperor Jothic's expression had shifted from predatory confidence to something approaching concern. This is irrelevant. Your accidental discoveries cannot match our military might. Can't they? Sarah pulled out the newspaper again, flipping to page 7. Yesterday's paper. Local physicist accidentally phases cat through wall, can't explain how. We've been trying to replicate it, but the physicist says he was just petting his cat while thinking about breakfast. We've had 3 more physicists pet 300 cats while thinking about various meals, and nothing happened. But it worked once, which means it's possible. She looked directly at the Emperor. Do you know what happened the last time someone declared war on humanity? It was a civil war, actually, World War II. We were fighting each other with conventional weapons, and during that conflict, humanity went from barely functional propeller aircraft to atomic weapons in 6 years. 6 years. Your species has been spacefaring for 10,000 years and only recently developed antimatter weapons. We developed them by accident while trying to make a better battery for electric cars. The Chithrak's representative spoke up, mandibles clicking anxiously. Surely this is exaggeration. I wish it was, Sarah said. But here's the thing about human innovation, it accelerates under pressure. Especially life-threatening pressure. You want to know our secret? Desperation and dumb luck. When humans are backed into a corner, when we're staring at extinction, something in our collective consciousness just breaks through. She walked slowly around the circle, and the assembled representatives instinctively backed away. Right now, on Earth, there are 8 billion humans. Most of them are going about their normal lives, working boring jobs, raising children, pursuing hobbies. But somewhere among those 8 billion, there's a teenager in Mumbai who's probably figuring out how to fold spacetime because her internet connection is too slow. There's a retiree in Nova Scotia who's accidentally breeding bacteria that can transmit information faster than light because he thinks they look pretty. There's a kid in Sao Paulo who's building what he thinks is a potato gun but is actually a handheld particle accelerator. She returned to the center of the circle. You declare war on us, Your Majesty? You threaten us with extinction? Thank you. You've just activated humanity's ultimate survival mechanism, panic-driven innovation. Emperor Jothic leaned forward. You're bluffing. Sarah shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe right now, somewhere on Earth, someone is discovering something that will revolutionize warfare. Or maybe they already have, and we just haven't figured out what they did or how they did it. That's the terrifying thing about humans, we often discover things decades before we understand them. She pulled out the newspaper one final time. Page 12. Child's imaginary friend might actually be quantum AI, parents concerned. We're investigating whether a 6-year-old accidentally created sentient artificial intelligence by talking to her teddy bear with enough conviction. If she did, we'll try to reverse engineer it. If we can't, we'll just have her make more imaginary friends. The chamber was completely silent now. Sarah folded the newspaper with deliberate care. So yes, Your Imperial Majesty, please declare war on humanity. Threaten our 3 little worlds with your vast armadas. Put us in a position where we either innovate or die. Her smile was no longer pleasant, it was predatory. I'm genuinely curious what we'll accidentally discover when 8 billion humans are simultaneously trying not to be exterminated. Last time we faced an existential threat, we invented the internet while trying to make a better communication system for universities. She tucked the newspaper back into her jacket. I'll make a prediction, though. Within 6 months of your invasion, some human somewhere will accidentally discover something so devastating, so fundamentally reality-breaking, that your empire will wish they'd never heard of Sol System. And the worst part? They'll probably discover it while trying to make better pizza. Emperor Jothic sat back on his throne, his 7 eyes blinking in asynchronous patterns, a sign of deep thought in his species. The council chamber remained silent. Finally, he spoke. This council will reconsider. Ambassador Sarah Chen nodded politely. Take your time, Your Majesty. I'll be in the diplomatic quarters if you need me. I brought more newspapers if you'd like to read them. Today's crossword puzzle accidentally encoded a new form of mathematics that our linguists are still trying to understand. She walked out of the chamber with unhurried steps, leaving behind an empire that had conquered 1,000 worlds, suddenly afraid of 3 small planets whose inhabitants couldn't even explain their own technology. As the massive doors closed behind her, Sarah allowed herself a genuine smile. She hadn't lied once. Every word was verifiable truth. And that, she reflected, was the most terrifying thing about humanity. Their greatest weapon wasn't something they'd invented on purpose. It was something they'd probably discover by accident tomorrow while trying to do something completely mundane. The newspaper in her pocket rustled. She pulled it out and glanced at a headline she hadn't read aloud. Amateur astronomer's backyard telescope accidentally detects parallel universe, plans to contact them next week. Sarah laughed again and kept walking. Somewhere on Earth, humanity was probably inventing the future without even trying. They always did.